Good morning, motivation team. How y'all doing this morning? If you haven't done so already, please thank the Lord that you woke up this morning. Go tell your family you love them. Go tell them good morning. Go ahead and invite them in on the video, man. If y'all haven't done so already, please go look at my trailer. It is a trailer to my testimony. It got a few clips and videos of me as I was a young man, you know what I'm saying, as I was a young child growing up, you know what I'm saying. But y'all, my testimony is coming soon. I might start filming on it today so I can go ahead and get that ready, so I can go ahead and get it out there to y'all probably next week. So y'all stay tuned for that. Y'all, let's go ahead and get today started. Let's go ahead and get today started with the verse of the day. And today, I got Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Y'all, don't forget to let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. This is what I got to say. God has a future and a hope for his people, even when they suffer, even when they hurt under deserved discipline or judgment. It's the devil's deception to rob God's people of their sense of his future and hope for them. So that's what I got to say about that. So y'all, don't forget to let me know what y'all think about that in the comments down below. And let's go ahead and get into the book. So we starting off at chapter 10 today. Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, took their censers, put fire in them, and added incense. And they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. So fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. Moses then said to Aaron, this is what the Lord spoke of when he said, among those who approach me, I will be proved holy in the sight of all the people. I will be honored. So the last fire in chapter 9 was a fire of glory. But this one was a fire of judgment. The fire said, I will not accept your man-based attempt to imitate my fire. I will bring judgment. Many think they can come their own way before God and do what they want to in his presence. God demands to be regarded as holy. God demands to be regarded as holy by all who come near to him. God must be glorified in the meetings of his people. The focus should not be on man, on cleverness, or insight. Those who fail to glorify God will not be rewarded. And the moment Aaron sees his two sons struck down, the respect of God's holiness was more important than Aaron's right to be mourning, to grieve. And Aaron was able to see the wrong from God's point of view. So Aaron had remained silent. Moses summoned Mishael and Elzaphan, sons of Aaron's uncle, Uzziel, and said to them, come here, carry your cousins outside the camp away from the front of the sanctuary. So they came and carried them, still in their tunics, outside the camp as Moses ordered. Then Moses said to Aaron and his sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, do not let your hair become unkempt, and do not tear your clothes, or you will die, and the Lord will be angry with the whole community. But your relatives, all the Israelites, may mourn for those the Lord has destroyed by fire. Do not leave the entrance to the tent of meeting, or you will die, because the Lord's anointing oil is on you. So they did as Moses said. So right now, Aaron going through it. Aaron is going through it. Two of his sons has been struck down, was killed by the judgment of God, and he couldn't mourn them. And if he was to, it might have implied that God was wrong in bringing that judgment onto them. So y'all remember back in Exodus when Moses and Aaron, they were taking the Israelites away from the Egyptians and Pharaoh. And y'all remember when the Israelites turned on God and started worshiping a gold calf. And that gold calf was also what Aaron had made for them to worship. And Aaron slick thinking like, why didn't you strike me down right there when I did that? It was because Aaron didn't know any better. That's what I think. This is what I think. I think because Aaron didn't know any better. But now since you did all these sacrifices, now since you got this anointing oil on you, now that you are consecrated, now that you are consecrated, you know better. Your sons knew better not to make the fire that God had made for his glory to be shown. Y'all, it's cool. Let me know when I'm talking crazy. Let me know when I'm getting out of line. Y'all let me know. But that's what I think. Then the Lord said to Aaron, you and your sons are not to drink wine or other fermented drink whenever you go into the tent of meeting, you will die. This is the lasting ordinance for the generations to come, so that you can distinguish between the holy and the common, between the unclean and clean, and so that you can teach the Israelites all the decrees the Lord has given them through Moses. A priest needed all their abilities to be able to tell the difference between good and evil. God didn't want the hearts and minds of his servants clouded with the alcohol when they come to serve him. And since alcohol is a depressant, it takes away the ability to completely give themselves to God. What I'm getting from the Bible is it's saying that God didn't want his priests, his servants, people that's gonna be getting the word out, to be drinking in the tent of meeting, in the tabernacle. Now, he didn't say nothing about drinking outside of it. I ain't telling nobody to go out here and drink. But what I think is he's saying, like, when you up under this tabernacle, when you in this tent of meeting, I don't need you drunk. I don't need your mind thrown off. Because you need to be able to tell when somebody walking up in here with wicked. You know what I'm saying? I need to be able to tell when somebody coming up in this sanctuary and they ain't holy. When Moses inquired about the goat of the sin offering and found that it had been burned up, he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's remaining sons, and asked, "Why didn't you eat the sin offering in the sanctuary area? It is most holy. It was given to you to take away the guilt of the community by making atonement for them before the Lord. Since his blood was not taken into the holy place, you should have eaten the goat in the sanctuary area as I commanded." Aaron replied to Moses, "Today they sacrifice their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, but such things as this have happened to me. Would the Lord have been pleased if I had eaten the sin offering today?" When Moses heard this, he was satisfied. So Moses wanted to know why Aaron's sons didn't eat the portions of sacrifice that were given to them to eat. And it seems they didn't eat it because their father didn't eat. Aaron didn't eat it because he mourned the loss of his sons, even though he wasn't allowed to. It was appropriate that he fast on the day of his son's death. Now we're in chapter 11, y'all. So the laws that God gave to Israel deal with many aspects of life. Now they talk about what animals they may eat and may not eat. In the NIV version, which I have, it just says the Israelites. But in the King James Version, it says the children of Israel. So God gave these laws to the children of Israel, not to the humanity. All right, so the rules were simple. If it had a divided hoof and ate the cud, it was good to eat. Camel, hyrax, or rabbit, all of those had no divided hooves, but they ate the cud, C-U-D. I don't know if I'm saying it right. If I'm not, y'all let me know. But they were considered unclean because they didn't eat the cud. They had to have both of them. They had to have divided hoofs and they had to eat the cud. A pig had divided hooves, but it didn't eat the cud. So it was considered unclean. Of all the creatures living in the water of the seas and of the streams, you may eat any that have fins and scales. But all creatures in the seas or streams that do not have fins and scales, whether among all the swarming things or among all other living creatures in the water, you are to regard as unclean. And since you are to regard them as unclean, you must not eat their meat. You must regard their carcasses as unclean. Anything living in the water that does not have fins and scales is to be regarded as unclean by you. So, most fish were considered clean except catfish because they had no scales. Crabs, oysters, lobsters, all didn't have fins and scales. Under the dietary laws given to Israel, these were an abomination and could not be eaten. There was 20 birds that was named as unclean to eat in verses 13 through 19. I'll go and name them birds out. The vulture, the eagle, the black vulture, the red kite, any kind of black kite, any kind of raven, the horned owl, the screech owl, the gull, any kind of hawk, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the white owl, the desert owl, the osprey, the stork, any kind of heron, not heron, but it's a bird called heron, and the hoopoe and the bat. And the most common things from those birds are that they were predators and scavengers. Y'all, I didn't know insects were considered eatable. You know what I'm saying? And If they stood on fours and had jointed legs for hopping on the ground like a locust, a katydid, cricket, or a grasshopper, they were clean. You can eat it. I actually seen somebody fry a locust. I seen it on TikTok. Somebody fried a locust. I ain't saying it looked good, but I ain't saying it looked bad either. But I ain't gonna try it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can have it. You know what I'm saying? Let me get back into the book though. You will make yourselves unclean by these. Whoever touches their carcasses will be unclean until evening. Whoever picks up one of their carcasses must wash their clothes, and they will be unclean till evening. Every animal that does not have a divided hoof or that does not chew the cud is unclean for you. Whoever touches the carcass of any of them will be unclean. Of all the animals that walk on all fours, those that walk on their paws are unclean for you. Whoever touches their carcasses will be unclean until evening. Anyone who picks up their carcasses must wash their clothes, and they will be unclean till evening. These animals are unclean for you. Now y'all know carcasses is an unalived animal. Unclean animals couldn't just be left to sit in the open of the community to rot. Somebody has to get rid of it. And whoever it was to move it has to go through a washing and a brief quarantine until evening. It will just help prevent diseases. Of the animals that move along the ground, these are unclean for you. The weasel, the rat, any kind of gray lizard, the gecko, the monitor lizard, the wall lizard, the skink, and the chameleon. Any of those also were excluded to be eaten. And so were those reptiles. And to summarize verses 31 through 38, some objects made of wood, cloth, hide, or sackcloth could be cleansed with water. But clay, it had to be destroyed. If cooking tools were contaminated with dead or unclean animals, it had to be thrown out. These laws gave the Israelites households a reason to prevent pests and creeping things from coming into a house. And these laws also help the health and welfare of the family. You are not to eat any creature that moves along the ground, whether it moves on its belly or walks on all fours or on many feet. It is unclean. Do not defile yourselves by any of these creatures. Do not make yourselves unclean by means of them or be made unclean by them. It was considered highly sinful and idolatrous to eat those forbidden creeping animals. So y'all don't be out here eating no snakes. Don't be out here eating no reptiles. Don't be out here eating no spiders, no scorpions. I am the Lord your God. Consecrate yourselves and be holy, because I am holy. Do not make yourselves unclean by any creature that moves along the ground. I am the Lord who brought you up out of Egypt to be your God. Therefore be holy, because I am holy. These are the regulations concerning animals, birds, every living thing that moves about in the water, and every creature that moves along the ground. You must distinguish between the unclean and the clean, between living creatures that may be eaten and those that may not be eaten. And that's all for today. Y'all, don't forget to tell me what y'all think about the verse of the day. Let me know y'all opinion. I be wanting to hear y'all opinion sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I just be wanting to see what everybody's point of view is. And y'all, don't forget to check out my trailer. Testimony coming soon. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.